Section 4.3, conics. This on page 327. It shows some conic sections like circular, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. And when you want to work on the problems on this section, you may need to have a copy of this page in front of you. Here it's explanation of parabola, which has a vertex and focus and axis and directrix, and also a standard equation of the parabola, vertex. So these two pictures, while you want to work on the problems, whether your parabola open upward or downward, depend on the value of p. If p is greater than 0, then it's like that. If p is less than 0, then parabola open downward. Or parabola open right or left, depend on the value of the p. So we need to have these two pictures when you have a problem with the parabola. Now here, in this example, find the focus and directrix of the parabola y minus 2x2. Since this one is y minus 2x2, then I see that the one with equations of x2 is this one. Because this one has x to the power of 2 and the power of y is 1. So what I do is I write that equation here and compare that to the one I have here. Here, if I divide both sides by minus 2, then x2 by itself is minus half of y. So that gives me the value of the p. When you have the value of p, you put it back here, and that gives you the equations. And since the value of the p is negative, the parabola open downward. So that one is this pictures which the parabola open downward. And then the next one, find the standard form of the equation of parabola. Vertex is the origin and focus is n 2 and 0. Okay, see, according to this picture here, you understand that when focus is on the x-axis, then you have this one. Because then when the parabola open up or down, the focus is on the y-axis. So this is the one that we need to work on. So again, the equation is y2 equal 4px, and equation of the focus is p and 0. So the first letter here is your value of the p. So p is 2. And then you put that and you find the equations. The other one is ellipse. The definition of ellipse is a set of all the points on the ellipse, sum of d1 and d2, sum of distance from any point on ellipse to focus, sum of these two is always constant. So if as this move, the distance remains the same. So there are two equations for ellipse. One is this, x2 over a2, and the other one is x2 over b2. One is focus is on horizontal axis, the other one is on y-axis. This is foci here, and the foci is on the x-axis. And then the value of c is a2 minus b2. When we are dealing with the ellipse problems, then we got to deal with this one. Examples here. Find a standard form of equation of ellipse shown in figure. So you already have the pictures. So this one means is these equations. See, these equations is x2 over a2, y2 over b2, which you have it here. So C, the value of C for foci is the first letter, so C is 2. C comma 0, 2 comma 0, so C is 2 here. So in that case, and you have the equations that C2 is A2 minus B2, we already know C, we already know the A, so that we calculate the B. When you calculate the P, you put everything back into these equations. Now, equation of ellipse is given. Remember, equation of ellipse, it always has to have 1 here. So what we do is we divide every term here by 36. So that gives you the equations, the standard form. So these examples are from your textbook. And then there is a definition of eccentricity is the value of E over C, or the ratio of C over A is called that for ellipse. I don't see we have any problems related to this, but anyway, this is the definition for that. Now then is hyperbola. There are also, hyperbola is like ellipse, there are 2 of them. One open right or left, the other one up and down. And hyperbola, they have an asymptote. The asymptote is the line that the parabola goes tangent to it. It will never intersect asymptote, but would be tangent to it. So for this kind, for the one that open right or left, this is the equations, and this is the asymptote. For the one that open up and down, this is as equation of asymptote and also equation of the line. So again, when you go to the examples here, example 5, find the standard form of equation of hyperbola. Foci is at -3, 0, and 3 and 0. So that means you have the one which is right and left. Why? Because foci is on the x-axis. If foci is on the x-axis, then you have this kind of problem. Then you immediately write the equations. So from this graph, the value of C is 3 is given, and the vertices is given. Vertices is 2 and -2. So you understand here and this one, vertices is A value. So A is 2 and -2. So you have A is 2, C is 3, that give you the B. You have the B, you put it into the equations. And this is another example of hyperbola. Again, all the formula for hyperbola and ellipse, they all have 1 on this side. So when you see a problem like this, the very first thing is we need to divide everything by 4 because we want this 4 to be 1. So that gives you the hyperbola. This kind of hyperbola, which has x2 over a2, what's the equation? Y is plus or minus b over ax. So here, b over ax is 2. And that gives you the equation of the asymptote, which are these 2. In this example, also, they gave you the vertex is 0 and -3. That means it is on y-axis. See, vertices x is 0, y is -3. Is this one, because x is 0 and vertices is here. See, so it's this kind. This is a formula, y2 over a2. And what is the equation of asymptote? A over b x, which is what you have here. And the ratio of A over B is 2, so you put everything in this equation. All right, so now we want to look at the examples. On the homework problems, I have the solution here for you for the first one. The equation is given is x2 equal to minus 2y, right? And what kind of parabola is that? This is the parabola, x2 equal 4py. So if you write the equation and put that under this one, then you could easily tell that 4p is negative 2, and that gives you the value of the p is negative half. Focus is 0 and minus half. And since the value of p is negative, the parabola open downward. That's why the right answer is this one. Again, equation of this graph, you need to have 1 here. So you divide everything by 36. By doing that, then you have the ellipse. Okay? And this ellipse, x over 6, means on the x-axis there are 6 units, 6 units. And on the y, you have 1. So you go 1 here and negative 1 here. That is your vertices. Again, we need to have 1 here. So the very first thing we do is we divide everything by 9 to make this 1. That gives you the hyperbola. Normally, the way to graph the hyperbola is under y, you see is 3, right? So you go from the 0, the coordinates of x and y axis, from the 0, you go up 3 and down 3. And then 1 is under x, means on the horizontal axis, you go 1 and 1. And then you create a rectangle here. If you draw the bisector of these 90-degree angles, 2 diagonal, these are the asymptotes, and then the graph is tangent to that. So it would be up and down, which is this case here. This is a parabola, right? Y equal half of x2. Which kind of parabola has x2 in it? X2 equals 7y. When I cross multiply here, I multiply both sides by 7. So you got here, then you have x2 equals 7y. When you have x2 equals 7y, then remember there are 2 equations. One is x2, one is y2. Ours is this one. X2 over equal 4 pi y. So I put that one here. That tells me that 4 p is equal to 7, or p is 7, 4. And what is the focus on this? 0 and p. See, 0 and p. P already have 7, 4. That's how to find it. How do you calculate directress? Directress is y equal minus p for this type. It's minus 7 over 4. So from the beginning, when you see a x2 and y1, that should bring you to this formula, x2 and y1. See, the other one is y2 and x1. Okay, so from that equation, then you come up with this parabola. Like this one, again, is x2 and y1. It's very similar to that one. That means it's the same equation. Is equation of x2 equal 4 py. So that would give you the p is negative, and it give you a focus. And because p is negative, the graph open downward, and this is the focus. Number 6, find the standard equation of a parabola with focus of -8 and 0. and vertex is the origin. Focus is -8 and 0. That means x is -8 and y is, it means your focus is on the x-axis. See which one of these two has focus on the x-axis, this kind. Because the other one, the focus is on the y-axis. So that brings you to this equation, y2 equals 4px. See, when you put y2 equals 4px, then in this type of equations, in this kind, focus is p and 0, which is given in the problem is -8 and 0, right? So that means, see, I put it under so you could actually see that the value of p then is -8. So when p is -8, you put it here, and that gives you the equations. The second one, find the standard form of the equation. Directress is y equal -3. Which one of these two parabola directress is y? See, y, this one directress is y equal -p. The other one is x equal -p. So y equal -p means you have this type of problem. Y is -p. So p is -3. See, y is -p. So that means p is 3. Did I say negative? No, I'm sorry, 3. And equation is x2 equal 4py. So you put that 3 here. So x2 is 12y. Number 8, find the standard form of the equation of parabola, which has, it passes through 2.6 and has a horizontal axis. The one that has horizontal axis is this one. See the axis? Axis is horizontal. The other one, you see this axis? The other one axis is vertical. So axis is horizontal means you have to use this equation and this formula. So y2 is 4px. See, y2 equal 4px. And 1 point is given in the problem. 2 and 6 is given. So the x is 2, y is 6. When you put those two numbers here, that help you to find the value of the p. When you find the value of the p, put it back into this equation to find your y2. So the key in this problem is it's a horizontal axis. That brings you into that type of problem. They give you the graph and they want you to find the equation through the graph. So 1 point of the graph is given, 1.7, okay? And equation is x2 equal 4py. Why? Because it's open upward. Open upward, x2 is 4py. So the picture tells me the equation is x2 equal 4py. And since the coordinates of 1 point is given, you take x and y and you put it here to find the value of the p. When you find the value of p, put it back here, multiply by 4, that gives you the equations. They want you to find the equation. You have the pictures. According to the picture, A is 3 and B is 8. So all you need to do is take these two numbers and put it in the equations. Because this is this kind of equations, which is x2 over x2 over b2. So here it should be b2. It doesn't matter because we know which one is which number is which. So is x2 over b2 and y2 over a2. The value of a is 3. You put This one is 3, this one is 8. So that gives you this equation. So, all right. So this is the ellipse that has horizontal distance of the 3 and b of 8. Find the standard form of the equations. Now, on this one, vertices and foci both are on the x-axis. You see, they don't have any y value. Is this kind, because here, vertices and foci both are in x-axis. So this is the equations. See, I showed in the picture so you could actually see that this is how you determine which equation to use. X2 over A2 plus Y2 over B2 equal to 1. And so according to this, C is 2 and A is 8. This is the vertices are 8. You put all those numbers. Here, you find, since you have the value of the C and the value of A, you find the B. B2 is 60. You put those numbers here. (42) again. 42. I'm sorry, number 12. Foci is on the x-axis. Okay. So again, it's very similar to that. Foci is on the, see, the foci is on the x, so it is this kind. And x-axis, major x-axis, length is 18. That means 2a. See, in this kind of ellipse, this is your major axis from here to here, which is from here to here is A, and this is another A, so it's 2A. Major axis is 2A. 2A is 18, A is 9, C is given. You put everything here, that gives you the value of B. You put it back in the equations. Number 13, vertices is 7 and 0. That means you do have an X again, and no Y. That when Y is 0 again, that means you're here in this one. See, the vertices do not have any Y, 0. Okay, so these are the solution for these, and then the rest is, I think it's easy to find out. You just look to see which one is this kind of ellipse. Number 15, talking about the hyperbola. Vertices and foci are given. So is this kind. Because vertices are on y-axis. See, we're saying vertices is y is positive -3, right? Which one has a vertices on y-axis is that one. That's why you have that kind. So this is, we are using all the equation that we have here, we are using for these problems. And the rest of 16, 17, 18, I have this problem, but they are not on your homework. So I think it's something that you may be able to study it yourself. Okay, so that would be end of this sections.